Turning now to talk about tariffs. If President Trump imposes 25% tariffs on Mexican and Canadian imported goods, the question is not what's on the list. The question is what's not on that list. Let's go to KTVU's Tom Baker, who joins us now. He looked into that question today and took a look at the big items. Tom?
And it's a very big move to make. We may be looking at either a big presidential bluff or the beginning of a very bad divorce with worldwide implications for other nations as well. President Trump says he plans on February 1st to impose 25% tariff charges on Mexican and Canadian imported goods, the United States' two largest trading partners. The tariffs would affect $1.5 trillion in annual trade between the three nations.
Certainly the price of those goods would have to increase because of a 25% tariff, but also there would be an additional cost in terms of labor.
80% of Mexico's exports come to the U.S. Many of the factories manufacturing all manner of hard goods are less than an hour's drive from the U.S. border. Major Mexican exports to the U.S. include cars, trucks, machinery, electronics, fruits and vegetables, metals, chemicals, paper, clothes, sporting equipment, toys, even nuclear reactors. But even U.S. car makers in U.S. factories that depend on a Mexican or Canadian part could be tied up, slowed down, or shut down. Then there's Canada, which exports half of all the oil America imports. That easily raises all manner of foreign and domestic product costs to Americans.
All of this increases the cost of producing most goods in the United States, most services in the United States.
Canadian-made cars and trucks would heavily be impacted. Also imported from Canada, machinery, uranium, plastics, metals, electronic equipment, wood, paper, pharmaceuticals, furniture, and foods. On San Pablo Avenue in Berkeley, there are plenty of places that sell international food. So we asked folks up here, what do they think of the tariffs, and do they think it might lead to a tariff war?
I see it as a tax, especially on people that have to buy goods like here. So much of our stuff comes from Mexico, from Canada.
Guess who's going to pay? The customers are going to be paying for. Nowadays, it will be hard to get all the products on one country for sure.
Truth is, the three countries' economies are deeply embedded in each other.
We're likely to see is a retaliation in terms of tariffs adopted on American goods, which makes everybody lose.
The other countries, they go, yeah, okay, it's 25%. Well, we're going to be 27% for whoever who's going to import, and that's going to be worse.
It's going to raise costs and raise inflation across the board for us.
Now, though the U.S. can hold out longer than Mexico and Canada in a tariff war financially, it may not be able to hold out with American consumers politically. Something to think about. Back to you.
Yeah, so Tom, I guess the question is, there's a lot of hypotheticals about whether this is a negotiation tactic and whether it actually comes to pass, but how much time do we have to kind of play with until we know or we think that the president might actually put these tariffs into place and we see all these economic impacts that you just discussed?
Well, if the deadline's February the 1st, that's a good deadline. What he's really trying to do, most folks think, is trying to renegotiate the U.S. Mexico-Canadian treaty, which is supposed to be renegotiated in 2026. He wants to do it earlier to produce savings for the United States earlier than that. But that's a big risk to take. So if it doesn't work out and he starts imposing these things, then other things start to happen. And remember, there are other countries that are going to be thinking about what's he going to do to us. So you have to be very, very careful here because the Canadians and the Mexicans have as much national pride as Americans do.
And as you said, that deadline is not that far away. All right, something we'll continue to watch. Thank you, Tom.